Welcome to Satsang. So we're all brought up in an environment where we're made to believe that we as an I are real, and that we have a past, and that we have a future, and that we are basically the body and the mind. And we believe that because everyone believes that. What would happen if you discovered that wasn't real? That you were never a body, never a mind, never a somebody, that you never had a past or a future, that you were actually never born and cannot die because you were never born. What would happen if you discovered that? You'd have time to have a look around, maybe, at everybody who's suffering as a result of the belief that they are a mind and body. And what if you also have access to the Akashic records because of awakening, and you discover that you've been here hundreds of times before, and that everybody you know, you've known before? Brothers, sisters, partners, friends, enemies, people you've cared about, people you've loved, and they're here again. What if you discovered this, and that they're all suffering because of the belief that they are a mind and body that was born and has a past, has a future, living as a somebody, when you know that there's nobody here, that everybody's simply using their imagination to make up who they are. Yet they're suffering incredibly because they're programmed to desire more or less, get attached to whatever they have, and then get fearful of losing it. What would you do if you discovered yourself as the vast everything that we truly are, and you were still here? What would you do? What would you try to do to help the people that you love? And by the way, if you wake up, you'll love everybody. What would you do? Wouldn't you try to help as many people as you could to get free, so they could know themselves as everything as well? See, a lot of people go for a higher consciousness and enlightenment for themselves. Well, that actually doesn't work. Enlightenment happens as a result of a sacrifice. The one that's going for enlightenment doesn't make it because it's not real in the first place. It's just imagination. The I is imaginary, it's not real. It doesn't make it to enlightenment. But it is the one that will go for it. It is the one that will do what's necessary to make it so. But it'll only do that if it has reason. As you go up in consciousness levels, as your consciousness levels rise, you get to see a great deal that most people don't see. You may have access to past lives. You may realise you've done this many times before, and that each life was a life of struggle and then death for all human beings. You may decide to help people get free, but then you'd have to work out how to do that. And that's quite difficult because people believe they are a somebody that's going somewhere, that has a past. Even people who are going for a higher consciousness, going for enlightenment, are lost in the illusion of the belief that they are a somebody. And so those who awaken become conscious enough to realize there is a sacrifice, that you as an I have to die for enlightenment to actually occur. That's a big ask, because you don't really know what's going to happen after enlightenment. You don't know if the body's even going to be alive. Might not be. You don't know. And you don't come back as an I. That's not what happens. If that happens, you haven't woken up yet. And so some people who have woken up have called themselves avatars. Avatar basically being something that's been stepped into and is being used to communicate through, but not who they really are or what they really are, because this idea of who is not true, it's a what. And so people going for enlightenment keep going for themselves. They keep self-inquiring, hoping they'll find themselves as truth, maybe finding themselves as truth temporarily, satori, then drifting back into lower consciousness, back into ego-based reality, because they haven't realized that there's a sacrifice, that you give up your life as an I for truth, for reality, and you don't make it back. There is no continuation for you. Whoever you were doesn't continue. The body does, and the personality attached to the mind does, but you don't continue. It's over. So when you tune into someone who's awake, you're not going to find a somebody there, you're going to find emptiness, because they're gone. You tune into someone who's ego-based, and there's someone there. There's something there. There's not an emptiness, there's not a space, there's a solid something made up of energy, of contraction. So why would you sacrifice yourself for something that you definitely don't know? Is because you don't know. Why would you do that? See, there's only one answer to that question. It's because you love. Love has you do it. You sacrifice yourself so you can help others stop suffering, those that you love. And at that level of consciousness, you love everyone. You can't help it. So enlightenment is never a selfish thing. It is always a selfless thing. And this is where a lot of spiritual aspirants, seekers, get caught. They don't realise the price. They don't recognise the price. They think that somehow they're going to wake up and afterwards they're going to write a book and hold satsang. Well, you don't make it. A book might get written, but not by you. Satsang may be held, but not by you. You're gone. You've sacrificed your life for the benefit of others. Because that's the only way enlightenment works. So I teach people how to raise their consciousness levels, because at some level you'll recognize what I'm saying. At some level there'll be enough of you out of the way for you to perceive love in everything and everyone. And at that point you've become ready for enlightenment. It's up to you. Any questions? Any statements? Any challenges to this teaching today?